Tuesday, April 4th, 2017. I'm your host, Sarah Mantle. We have a great show in store for you today. First up, we're going to chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Then we'll find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center when we chat with Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. And finally, we'll chat with DPW Director Dan Santos. All of that on this episode of Barnstable Today. But first, let's go ahead and get a look at today's top headlines. The Conservation Commission will consider a proposal to install a new tight tank at the newly renovated Craigville Beach bathhouse. The renovation project also included a new roof, restrooms, changing facilities, outdoor shower trees, and a training room for lifeguards. The Conservation Commission meets at 6:30 tonight in the Town Hall hearing room. Owners of the Indian Pavilion on Main Street in Hyannis hope to build a second-floor apartment building above their restaurant. They will present plans to the Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission tomorrow night. Those plans call for 9 one-bedroom year-round apartments. The Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission meets Wednesday night at 6:30 in the Selectmen's Conference Room. The Barnstable School Committee will discuss wellness courses for 8th and 12th graders during its meeting this week. Also on the agenda is the adoption of the FY18 fee schedule and FY18 budget. The school committee meets Wednesday, April 5th at 7 in the Town Hall hearing room. Well, do you think your dog has what it takes to be Barnstable's best dog? Barnstable's Best Dog Contest begins this week. To enter, all you have to do is send in your dog's photo along with a check for your annual dog license, a self-stamped addressed envelope, and a copy of the current rabies certificate. Letters should be addressed to the town clerk at 367 Main Street in Hyannis. Of course, don't forget to stop by and cast your vote. The contest ends May 1st. Once the contest is complete, the clerk's office will return the photo and the new dog tag to you. Up next, we're going to chat with Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Joining me now live on the phone, Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Chief, been a very busy week for you guys. Want to talk about an operation you guys recently have gone through to reduce prostitution in the town of Barnstable. Let's talk about that if we can.
This was an operation that we did in conjunction with the Attorney General's Office, the Mass State Police, and the Cambridge Police Department. This is something that they have done several times up in the North Shore. They then come down to Hyannis, down to southeastern Mass, and once they're done here, they're moving out to the western part of the state. The AG's office has taken this upon as one of her personal things that she's going after, soliciting a prostitution. And she came down to Hyannis last Thursday night. They set up their operation at the Holiday Inn, and they ended up arresting 9 individual gentlemen who responded to an ad that they had put on the back page. Now, the back page is something that's it's a national type of website that you go on. You can search and look for different things, and there are some personal things that you can go on to. If you go on the back page, type in Cape Cod. This pops up, and if this is not soliciting prostitution, I'm not exactly what it is. If you want there, it's pretty dramatic. So we set up, and we've done this before ourselves. This time working in conjunction with them, we're going to lock up 9 individuals.
Wow, pretty successful, I guess. Call me naive, but not sure I knew that things like this happened on Cape Cod, and I think that's always what happens sometimes in a small town or a small community, is you think that that isn't happening around you, but in reality, it is.
Right. Well, I mean, we have a lot of the same problems that the big cities have. I mean, down here we're a tourist community. There are tons of hotels, and where we see a lot of hotels down here, this is going to happen. And this mixed in with the human trafficking. A couple of years ago, we had all those massage parlors, in Hyannis, spread out to Katuah, down in Falmouth, and they're all linked in through this back page. That's how they're getting the customer. That's where their customer base is. That's kind of what they're going after it. And one of the things the AG's office is trying to go after the back page and try to shut them down, because if you can look at it, I mean, they're clearly soliciting prostitution, but so far they've been able to defend themselves successfully in any type of court action that any of the states have brought against them.
Wow. Scary
yes,
stuff.
It is scary.
Do you think that operations like this will really have a significant impact across the state as far as reducing the prostitution in the state?
I think it sends a clear message. I mean, if you look at the article the Cape Cod Times did on the front page of the paper, it certainly has that embarrassment factor for the individuals. If somebody is contemplating doing something like this, or someone's contemplating paying for these type of services, and if they do get picked up and they do get arrested, it's going to be on the front page of their local newspaper. The embarrassment factor certainly has to be high, and it certainly has to be a detriment to anybody thinking about doing this. The penalty for it, a couple of individuals, they did plead guilty that day in court, and I believe they pled out to $1,000 court costs, and there was no time served. So I don't know about the penalty might not prevent it, but certainly the embarrassment factor. I certainly would not be caught in something like this.
Right, absolutely, and to know that authorities are on it and,
Yep.
and monitoring it, very important. I want to talk to you about another case. A gentleman in Centerville was arrested. He was actually arrested for inappropriate behavior with
Yes.
females. Let's talk about this a little bit, because I think Detective Kevin Connolly is really becoming a resource for the region when it comes to some of these online things that involve the internet.
Right. This is one of his first case they did. I mean, this was just adjudicated, I believe, last week. And the case, I believe, is 3.5 years old. He was finally sentenced to 15 years in state prison, which certainly is a hefty penalty. The incident occurred over in Centerville off of Skunkneck Road. He was selling himself as a photographer, looking for model, looking for young girls, and he was able to get these girls posed in provocative poses and solicited them for sex. He videotaped a lot of it. Once we got wind of it, one of the girls finally did come forward. We were able to get a search warrant. We were able to get into his phone, get into all of his electronics and computer system. Kevin Connolly, because of extensive training, was able to go in there forensically and take everything out of it and preserve it for court. He testified in court, brought all the evidence with him, and he got guilty findings on just about every single charge we brought forward with it. And talking to detectives, we're not done with this case. We still have other victims have since come forward, and we now look at that, and there are probably more charges brought against him.
Wow, incredible work too, and I think read an article recently about that as well. And one of the girls actually went to a school resource officer to chat with her about the incident, and then this is sort of another thing that helped bring the incident to the surface. So really important there to have those resource officers in our schools so that kids know they have somewhere to turn for help.
Well, they have a relationship with the school resource officer. It was a resident of the town of Sandwich. She went to the Sandwich school resource office. School resource officer then contacted us, not detective division. That's how the whole thing gets started. But you're absolutely right. Having the police officers in the schools, developing that trust and the bond with the kids is crucial.
Any tips, Chief, for parents as far as monitoring online activity with their kids? It just seems like a very scary world out there to navigate for children, and to see that some of these girls were, basically solicited online. It's pretty scary.
It's very, very scary, and you really have to monitor, what the kids are going through, what the websites they're going to. Have control of all electronic devices. And you go in and look at the history, obviously, what the kids are looking at, or see what they have been looking at, and take the appropriate action, because there's all kinds of crazy stuff on the internet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for taking the time with us today, Chief. We really appreciate it. And, of course, good work to the department. Congratulations on all the work you're doing in the community.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Talk to you soon, Chief.
Talk to you then. Bye.
Bye-bye. Our guest today, Chief of Police Paul McDonald. Up next, we're going to find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center with Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. There's always so much happening at the Barnstable Senior Center. To learn more about some great programs they have to offer, we have with us Activities Coordinator Susan Griffin. Susan, this is today actually begins a lot of classes at the Barnstable Senior Center. What are some really exciting things we have to this spring?
Yes, this is the beginning of our spring session, so we have many, many things going on, and if you're ready to get out into the garden, as I think we all are at this point, we do have a wonderful series starting Tuesday, April 4th with the Master Gardeners, and this is a great opportunity to learn from experts at a very reasonable fee of $25 for all 5 sessions.
Oh, wow.
So, yes, it's 5 to 6 p.m., so if you're out there working and you feel like you want to learn a little bit more about gardening, some of the topics are terrific. It's composting and healthy soil. They'll be talking about native plants, pollinators, and vegetable gardening. So that's just a couple of them there. And it will run for, like I said, 5 sessions ending May 2nd from 5 to 6 for $25. It's a great, great deal. We also have our exercise classes, so you have to get ready for bathing suit season.
I love those exercise classes at the Barnstable Senior Center. They're great classes.
We do, and it's everything from yoga to Tai Chi to Qigong to this cardio fitness. So it's all levels from beginning to, experienced, exercise enthusiasts. There's line dancing, and then there's just a regular dance class. There's some great programs of fit, flexible, and fun. We have, actually, for dexterity, the town nurse, Peg Stanton, actually teaches here. It's called Mudra, and it's hand yoga for health. So there's some really neat and interesting classes here to keep you flexible and moving.
And two, I love that the Senior Center has no age limit. So
no, anyone welcome.
Can take part in these programs, no matter what age you are.
Yes.
And they're so affordable, Susan. I think, what is the going rate for about a 6-week course nowadays?
Well, most of our classes average out to only $6 per class, and it is truly the best deal around Cape Cod.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
It really is, and our instructors are experts in their field. They really are knowledgeable. They're willing to work with anyone that comes in and wants to try a class for the first time. So we have, if you want to take a yoga class but you feel like you can't get down on the mat, they'll help you with, if you want a seat in a chair. Or if you want a more extensive yoga class, we offer those classes as well. So our instructors are fabulous. I can't say enough about them, and many of them have been here for numerous years and have quite a following. So I encourage people to just come in, take a look around, observe some of our exercise classes, and see what's the best fit for you.
And even though some of the programs begin today, there's still plenty of time for individuals who are interested to go ahead and sign up. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. That's not a problem.
And then another thing I was reading about in the Compass, very excited about this, you guys have some art classes available as well.
Yes. We have watercolor classes that'll begin April 4th, and that will go till May 9th. That's 2 hours, 10 till noon. And that's a 6-week class, and that will be $60. And then we offer 2 acrylic classes on Thursday mornings, so starting April 6th, and that will go until May 11th. One is from 10. That class has become so popular we had to add a second one. So there's a 10 a.m. to 12 noon, and then a 1:30 to 3:30, and those are with Sue Carey. And it's acrylic art for the beginner, and she does a step-by-step class. We also have an acrylic class in the evening starting April 18th. So that's also going to be a lot of fun, because the acrylics seem to be very popular right now, as is the watercolor.
Yeah.
But we also, as far as art and exercising your creativity, we have origami classes coming up. We have a sewing program. We have a couple of jewelry classes. We have just making your own simple bead pendant is one coming up in April. And then we have coming up, I think that's actually May, but it's a repurpose your jewelry and making your own design. So there's some really great creative classes that'll take place.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, to be honest with you. It just sounds so fun. to get out there and enjoy it. And like you said, it's so reasonable. The fees for these classes are so reasonable. Such an amazing opportunity for anyone in the community really to take advantage of the items that the Senior Center has available. Let's talk a little bit about registration if we can. So if someone's listening and saying, I really want to take a beading class or learn how to repurpose my jewelry, how can they go ahead and sign up? Can they do it online or in person at the Senior Center?
Both. They can go online. If they're having any difficulty navigating the system, they can call us and we can walk them through it, especially if they're first-timers. It can be a little tricky. They can send in a check with just a note stating which class they're interested in. They can stop in, pay cash if they prefer. So there's many different ways that they can come in and sign up for a class. It's really quite simple. So we encourage people to do that and find out what might be their specialty, and hopefully we have something here for everyone.
Yeah, you might even find a new passion that you have.
Yes, because we also offer computer classes. We have many workshops on health and wellness, and then general interest workshop. For example, we're doing a talk on our turtle. If anyone has been to the Senior Center and noticed our turtle tank, we are growing our beautiful diamondback terrapins and helping them get large so they can go back out into Sandy Neck Beach and hopefully eat all those mosquitoes.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us today, Susan, and telling us everything we need to know about activities at the Barnstable Senior Center. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Sarah. Have a great day.
You as well. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our guest today, Activities Coordinator for the Barnstable Senior Center, Susan Griffin. Joining me now live on the phone, DPW Director Dan Santos. Dan, it is budget season, lots of talk. The first off, I guess, the Barnstable Town Council has read through the capital improvement plan. That's going to come up for debate soon. Talk to me a little bit about what we're going to see in that capital improvement plan.
Surely. Thursday night, we begin the hearings for the capital program, and many of the departments, including the school department, the airport, have capital programs that they will be presenting, looking for appropriations for fiscal year 18. And I usually do the requests for public works, and that includes the general fund and enterprise funds, and most of the community service plan, because they're typically projects that deal with their buildings and their facilities that we manage anyway, and so that's why I present those. So to go through a number of them, there are quite a few this year, and so we'll be looking for funding to renovate the town hall restrooms.
Oh, okay.
And some of these restrooms really go back to when the building was built in, I think, 1896. Some of them still have their original finishes and fixtures, in fact. And for the most part, the restrooms don't meet current standards for plumbing and building code, particularly accessibility for handicapped. In fact, you don't have a men's and women's room on each floor. In fact, some of them are separate. So we're going to make sure we have on the lower level, first, second, and third floors, men's and women's restrooms, and they'll all be fully functional and meet all standards, particularly the American with Disabilities Act standards, and be water efficient and energy efficient, and so that's one project. We're also going to be working on the exterior of the town hall and the SAB building. You may recall that 5 or 6 years ago, actually going back to 2010 and 11, we started renovating the exterior of those buildings, and we did masonry repairs and roof repairs and all new windows. And part of that was sealing the brick, because these buildings are made actually of West Barnstable brick, which is known to be a very porous and soft brick. So we've had a lot of problems over the years with water infiltration. Moisture actually moves through the bricks. And so you need to replace the sealer every 7 or 8 years. It's sort of like painting a house. You want to keep that finish coat on there to protect the inside. So that's what we're seeking funds to be able to do that and not let it get to a point where we're having to repair things. This is preventive maintenance.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, right? I recently chatted with Hans Kaiser. He, of course, runs the water division here in the town of Barnstable, and he really was talking about how important it is to make sure that we upkeep some of these facilities, because that's going to prevent a lot of heartache in the future.
Exactly.
What else can we expect to see on the capital improvement?
So we're looking forward to our annual public roads maintenance and repair program, which is really the most significant part of the plan of $3.2 million that we put towards public roads maintenance, and that includes everything from crack sealing and chip sealing and overlays to full reconstruction and drainage work. And that's allowing us to keep our roads, the public roads, at a high standard. We got a project at the JFK Museum on Hyannis Main Street. The front plaza there is a bluestone plaza, which is beyond its useful life, with lots of heaving and cracks and a lot of trip hazards there. So we're going to be looking to replacing that plaza, the landscaping, and the benches, just that whole area, which is a main area for people to stroll through and relax or to go to the museum. It's centrally located on Main Street, as you know, and so we want to upgrade that.
Yeah, pretty important thoroughfare right there.
We have our annual guardrail and sidewalk improvements, where we replace a lot of the aging and damaged guardrail. We put overlay on sidewalks that have gotten to the point where the roots from trees are heaving the sidewalk and create cracks and trip hazards. So we have about 80 miles of sidewalk. So maybe every year we have a robust program to replace some of those. We're also going to be doing, as part of that, putting in some new handicap crosswalks in Katuitt that were recommended by a consultant working with the Civic Association there, some upgraded crosswalks.
Wow, that, of course, I'm sure neighbors will be very excited about in Katuitt.
Yes, and ultimately, we'll get through the whole town, and we've asked for requests that weren't funded this year, but maybe in future years, to start addressing the crosswalks throughout town, kind of, in chunks, to make sure they're up to the latest safety standards.
I'm sure those safety standards must change from year to year, and it must be tough to keep on top of that for a town that has so many roadways and crosswalks. And, one of the things, it's important, I think, to divvy that out a little bit each year to make sure you're sort of not lumping all your funds into one area.
Well, that's exactly right, and that's how the town council has viewed it and how we've approached it. And you just pick away at it year after year, and eventually you'll get it done. Because if you look at it at one chunk, it's really an overwhelming amount of money that's involved with a town as large as ours. So we are looking at, there's some shooting range work to do some lead removal and site investigation there, with the goal of creating, safe ranges. And the first part of that is really doing some more comprehensive investigation to understand exactly how much lead is there in the ranges themselves and get that removed. A lot of it is actually chunks from bullets, fragments that they reclaim and actually has a market value.
Interesting. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
Well, so the process as it goes now, Dan, the Town Council has already read it in first reading. They begin debating these items this Thursday, I believe, at Town Council. This could take a little while, so individuals do have a chance to weigh in if they would like. Is that correct?
Well, it'll be complete over 2 meetings. I'm the third on the agenda, the Public Works project, so we may not get through all of ours. And people can comment at the beginning of the town council meeting, or since these are public hearings, there's an opportunity for public comment at each one of these items.
Great. Well, thank you for joining us today, telling us what we can expect to see on that capital improvement plan. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right. Have a great day, Dan.
Thanks.
We'll talk to you. Look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Thank you. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Our guest today, DPW Director Dan Santos. Now let's go ahead and find out what's happening around town in today's community calendar. The Cotuit Library is hosting a discount electronics sale. The library is offering great deals on some older models of electronics like e-readers and tablets. The purchase is not only a great deal for you, but will also help to support your local library. Call the Cotuit Library for details. Well, are you in the market for a new mattress? The Barnstable High School Business Club, known as DECA, is hosting a mattress sale to raise money. The mattress sale will be held at Barnstable High School Sunday, April 9th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. All mattresses are up to 50% off retail price, so you can not only save money but also help DECA raise money to support student attendance to state and national business competitions. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this week's board, committee, and commission schedule. Well, thanks for joining us today. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great show for you. Tomorrow we will chat with Airport Manager Bud Brialt about the potential fallout from possible federal budget cuts. We'll chat with the CEO of the Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, Wendy Northcross, and so much more. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.